purpose of this video is to provide a brief introduction to Java Server Faces, PrimeFaces data tables. So what I've done is I've created in NetBeans a Maven web application. So I just went to File, New Project, selected Maven, selected Web Application. Then once I did that, I went to Properties and Framework, and I made sure I added the Java Server Faces framework and selected the PrimeFaces component and verify that I have the PrimeFaces dependency in my POM file. So then the first thing I did, and I took this from the PrimeFaces example that's provided by PrimeFaces.org in their showcase. And so basically what I'm going to walk through is the example that's provided there. So the first thing I did is I created a car class, and the attributes of a car is the ID, the brand, the color, the year, the price, and whether or not it's solid state. I created getters and setters for each of those attributes, and then in addition to that, I created a constructor where a user can construct a car by passing in all of the desired attributes. Then the next thing I did is I created something called car service, and all this class does is allows the user to create a random set of cars, so a random list, an array list of cars. So we've created a static string of colors, a static array, a string of brands, and I've created a unique ID and initialized it to 1. Then we initialize the colors. So we have 10 different colors. We have 10 different brands of cars. So now we've created a method called create cars, and the user can call this method and it returns an array list of cars, and they can specify how many cars they want to create. So we instantiate an array list that's going to hold cars, and then we create as many cars as was specified in the parameter, and we just add a new car to the list, and we instantiate each new car by calling some methods that generate random values. So for example, we're going to instantiate a new car and we're going to pass it in an ID, and all I'm doing is each time I assign a car an ID, starting at 1, I increment it just to verify and make sure that my IDs are unique. Then get random brand, we're just generating a random number between 0 and 9 and using that brand to assign it to the car. Then we generate a random price, random year, random solid state. So basically all they are is methods that allow us to generate random values to assign to our car attributes. And then here we're putting them on a list. So our car service provides the ability for a user to generate a list of cars with basically random values. Then lastly, in our source package, we created our managed bean, and we're calling our managed bean simple JSF session scoped, so it's going to exist as long as the session exists. The attributes are car service, and the attributes are a list of cars that we are going to get from the car service. The one new annotation is post construct, and this is telling our platform that after you've completely instantiated a simple JSF object, then it calls this method init, so it will automatically, post construct will execute the init method. It'll instantiate a car service, and then it'll get a list of cars from that car service. And here we're specifying we want 10 cars generated. Then we have our get cars that we need for our car attribute, and we have set cars for our car list. Now let's go to our index.xhtml page. This is our user view of the data. So within our XHTML page, and you notice that we have the PrimeFaces namespace and we have the JSF namespace. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our data table in a JSF form. Then we're going to create a PrimeFaces data table. The PrimeFaces data table has a var called car. So what the data table is going to do, it's going to iterate through a list of cars, and for each car in the list, we're going to call it car. So then the value of our data table is simple JSF.cars. So what that's doing is it's calling our simple JSF get cars. So it's asking for the list of cars, get cars, so this list of cars from our managed bean. So it gets that array list of cars, and for each car in the list, it's going to refer to it as car. So now this car is our car object from the car class. So now for each attribute in the car, we're going to declare a column to display it in the table. So this header is what we want for the header, column header in our table. And then what do we want printed in that column? We want to call car ID. So this is calling the car objects get ID, car objects get year, the car object get brand, car object get color, car object get solid state. And then when we run that, there's our table. And if you go to the PrimeFaces showcase, you'll see all different kinds of different attributes and different functionality that you can add to your data table. You can make columns sortable. You can specify that you want to iterate through ranges of cars, and just a variety of really nice functionality that's available there. But that gives you the basic idea of how to create a data table. The important things to remember is this is going to be the list that you're getting from your managed bean. This is each object within the list, and these are the object attributes.